And then the last challenge I'll mention on the department store side is e-commerce. Fueling, extraordinary growth in e-commerce is very, very challenging. The half-life in the technology space in e-commerce is probably about a year and a half to 2 years. And keeping up with the major players in that space is a phenomenally challenging thing, and I'll come back to that. The departments, or the outlet stores, is our fastest growing part of our business in terms of bricks and mortar. Go back to that. There's our store in Ellington, Florida, and also in Apex, North Carolina. A couple of good examples of what our stores look like today. We have 475 of them. They're in 16 states, and their key competition is these off-pricers. Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and to some degree Walmart. And you can see the brands to some degree overlap with the brands we offer in our department stores, although as I mentioned, they're bought directly from those vendors and not in conjunction with our department stores. The key challenges in the Bell's outlet space is competing with the most productive companies in retail. Right now, TJ Maxx, Ross are the darlings of the retail business. When the downturn occurred in 2008, a lot of customers who traded in the Macy's, Bloomingdale's kind of moved down the chain a bit into the off-price space and have kind of stayed there. These businesses earn phenomenal rates of return on their sales, much better than the department stores have ever earned, probably pre-tax 12, 13, 14% pre-tax. I know many of you who are in business understand how powerful that kind of a model is. It's phenomenal. And the thing with Bell's Outlet is that we're just like we were challenged when we moved into Arizona, understanding that customer. We're challenged in the more northerly geographies that we're in, Kentucky, North Carolina, Tennessee. Seasons really matter there. They don't matter much in Florida, So if you have some flip-flops left over from the summer into the fall, it's still hot. But if you have flip-flops left over from the summer in Tennessee or Kentucky, you're getting murdered. So we've got to be much better at changing over to the seasons. And then coming out of the season's a little different. We've got to have warm wear in those states into January and February. In Florida, we pretty much are ready for spring this weekend. So that is a big challenge. And then we're also trying to develop an enhanced real estate strategy that we're currently testing. We want to, in the outlet, be in better centers, in more densely populated communities. We don't advertise in the outlet, so we have to be where the traffic comes. We found that in smaller towns and in smaller shopping centers that it's harder to be effective. So we're testing a new strategy to be in better centers. And of course, when you're in better centers, Bill Snyder and I were talking about that earlier, it costs more. Rents are higher. And the other thing that I would say about the real estate market today is that people believe their real estate, especially a commercial shopping center, is worth a lot now that the economy started to turn around, and so they want higher rent. And so it's a significant challenge to us to find the right kind of a center that we can afford and to run our opportunistic off-price business there. Overall, from my chair, I would say that our overall challenges in our business are moving revenue growth back towards the double digits. It's been a while since we've been there. For those of you who are involved in running business, I know a lot of you are, managing the growth of central office and distribution that we call overhead, so that doesn't grow faster than your sales. It's certainly a big challenge. And keeping pace in e-commerce. Modern commercial website operations are very expensive to maintain and to keep current. When you're trying to keep pace with Amazon.com, and Amazon is kind of the company right now that wants to eat the world. very, very challenging. We have historically been on a store fulfillment model, so that when customer orders things from our site, it's fulfilled from the merchandise we have in our stores. We've recently begun moving towards a hybrid concept, which includes central fulfillment. And we also believe that over the next year or so, that it's going to be very important for us to create a commercial web presence for our outlet business, so we can sell outlet goods over the web as well. And of course, just like many of your businesses, talent management is probably the most important kind of overarching objective of mine. Succession planning for all our leadership roles. And of course, that gets back to this idea of balancing the growth of central office expenses. We've got to try to find ways to create bench strength from within without hiring a bunch of extra people. Building that bench strength that you need is challenging. Developing high performance and high potential team members. Spending more time on developing people, not just attracting them, but it's developing them and investing in them. And finally, of course, you've got to and always try and redirect or weed out underperforming people. So those are big challenges that we, like many of you, also face. I just want to close with a few quick slides. One, our Manatee County footprint. Of course, we've been in Manatee County for, as I said, 99 years. We have 11,000 employees, kind of chain-wide, and 2,400 of them are in Manatee. $76 million payroll in Manatee, so it is significant. And we invested $15 million in Manatee County in July 2013. So a very significant business presence in our home county. And just to kind of close, I think, I hope I've convinced you that this is a business that has a heritage of success, starting with our founder, R.M. Bell Sr., going and handing it off to his son, who started the growth, and then E.R. handing it off to his son, Bob, who has now kind of modernized the business and brought us into the 21st century. We have a very strong financial position because we reinvest our earnings and we don't borrow to grow. We have two very viable businesses in Bell's Department Stores and Bell's Outlet, and probably one of the most loyal customer bases in this area. Certainly, you understand it when snowbirds come back down and they rush to our stores because they've missed us in the summer while they went up north. And I think the future that is very bright. E.R. Bell was this master of coming up with great things to say, and this is one that I thought was especially. There's no reason wants to go right off those pictures. See what will be, not what is. And while you said you're a serial entrepreneur, I'm probably more of a serial manager and have spent my life kind of running businesses as opposed to starting new ones. But E.R. Bell was the one who decided that Bell's Outlet would be a phenomenal way for us to grow our business. He saw what could be. And the off-price business is certainly a very successful part of retailing now, and it's, I think, a tribute to E.R. Bell that the Bell's Inc. organization is able to participate in the off-price business. So I appreciate your attention. I hope I didn't go too fast, but I could probably answer a question or two if there are some out there.
Steve, thank you for the overview. I read a little bit online, but that was a great history, not knowing it went that far back. And I love that local aspect to it. Knowing that all of us have come through that period of adversity, I was wondering if you could just give us some sense of lessons learned about how you manage through a very tough economic cycle and come out thriving.